So in the previous video, we created a random image generator based on titles and icons. So here's an example. We have a spinner and then it generates a result. So this is a nice little example of kind of randomizer game. What I wanted to implement in this video was a simpler version of this, which effectively would roll a dice. So it would generate a number between 1 and 6 for us and generate or display that on screen. So let's just build this through from scratch. So let's create a new form. We will call it roll dice. I'm also going to update the navigation, my global navigation. So I'm going to update my hamburger menu and add roll dice. And I will update the code for that. So if the menu item is roll dice, change it to the roll dice form. Okay. So let's build out our roll dice page. So how do we want this to look? Well, let's drag in a Bootstrap 4 button. We will, let's just style that quickly. So we can set the left as, let's say, 25%. We'll set the width as 50%. Right will be auto. Let's set the height. Let's make it a bit taller. Okay. And we will change the text to roll. Okay, so we've got a roll button. So at the moment it won't do anything. Where do we want to put the result? Well, let's drag in a label. And let's centralize that. So we can, an easy way to do this would be to left 0 it and put width as 100%. And then custom style, text align center. And there we go, it's centralized. Let's make the text much larger. So, because this is just going to show a number. So font size, let's try 30. Okay, that's quite good. Maybe let's go up to 50. Let's even push it up to 60, shall we? Okay. So by default, the default value actually, well, let's put 3 dots so we know that it's still there. And it'll update when we hit roll. Okay. So let's create the on-click event for the button. Okay, so we've got that there. I'm going to grab some code from my randomizer form because that's quite useful. And we use some math functions to generate random numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually grab this line because that's the one we want. And I'll just put that there and comment that for the time being. So let's tweak this code slightly. So we don't have a count variable in this form. We don't need it to be dynamic. We know how many numbers we've got on a dice, so that'll be 6. Let's just see how this behaves as it stands. So we'll just log the values out to the console. So random number. Let's see what kind of random number this generates for us. So let's run my browser. And we will use our navigation to go to roll dice. And let's hit roll. Oh, and there we go. We've got an issue there. So I just made a mistake because I used the wrong variable name. So if you spotted that for me, well done. Let's just update that. Make sure we're refreshed. Go to roll dice. Let's hit roll, and there we go. So down in our console, we can see number 1. That 1 has been generated. We can roll again. We've got 5, 4, 5, 5 again, 0. Okay, so a 0 has been generated. Now we don't want 0 with a dice, obviously, because we only have 1 to 6. So let's look into why this is happening. Well, if you can remember from the previous video what these math functions do. So math.random actually generates a number between a random number between 0 and 1, so a fractional number. So 0 and 1, or less than 1, so it will never actually generate 1, but anything up to, but not including 1. So that gives us that. We then multiply that by 6, and then math.floor it, which essentially rounds it down to the nearest whole number. So this will only ever generate a maximum of 5, but it will also generate 0. So to solve that, we could just add 1. So this then will generate it'll always generate at least 1, and instead of just going up to 5, it'll actually go up to 6 as well. So let's run that and see what behavior we get. So go to roll dice. Let's roll it a few times so you can see in the console we're getting some numbers. No zeros yet. And we got a 6 there, so that's good. So we can keep on rolling, and we're getting numbers between 1 and 6, which is what we want. Okay. Good. So instead of logging it to the console, let's actually make it appear on page. So let's remove that log, and we just need to go to label 2. So we'll type in label 2, dot, let's go in HTML, equals random num. And let's run that. Go to roll dice, we roll, and there we go. It's appearing on page. 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5. So there we go. There's a nice roll the dice function.